The new year is at our doorstep, and I thought it would be nice, being a developer, to make a list of languages that I like or plan to learn in 2022. So this is my list. Enjoy. Hello there, good people, welcome. My name is Marco and I'm a full stack developer. Now, the question might arise, Marco, you're already a developer, you have a job, why would you want to learn new languages? Well, as it turns out, the world of programming is quite exciting and fun, but it also moves pretty fast. And it's always a good idea to keep up with it when possible. Learning new things is a good way to stay up to date with the latest trends and technologies, and to always be a valuable resources on the market, and for yourself, for your own projects. So let's start from number 1. GraphQL. GraphQL is a query language, but most importantly is a technology that allows you to build powerful APIs that are not based on the so-called RESTful architecture. And this is why it is interesting to me. As I said time and time again on this channel, I love backend development, especially building APIs. Learning GraphQL could really teach me another type of approach when thinking of APIs, when thinking about the process of building them and make them usable by others. Or it could be a disaster. I hate it and I just go back to what I was doing before. But so far, I am willing to take the risk. For what I've heard and seen, GraphQL is quite promising. TypeScript. I held off too long for this one, but 2022 I feel it's the year to learn TypeScript. Finally, learn TypeScript. I have primarily used JavaScript to build my full stack applications, but TypeScript could really be a big improvement in terms of quality in my projects. Considering that it is a superset of JavaScript, which means that it has all the features JavaScript has and more, I don't think it would be super difficult to learn. Maybe to learn effectively and integrate it naturally in my day-to-day coding life, that could take a while. But overall, I am not worried about it. On the contrary, I'm quite excited. As I said, TypeScript has been under my radar for quite a few months now, and finally, I'll get to see what the fuss is all about. React Native. This one is probably the biggest leap for me as a web developer. But to be totally honest, in my career as a developer, I've always liked the idea to be kind of a one-man show. And I don't mean to work alone, but to be able to think about all the different aspects of an application or a project, even the mobile side. React Native comes from React.js, which is a popular JavaScript front-end library. And when I say it comes from, it means that, well, basically they have the same basic language, either JavaScript or TypeScript, and they have the same paradigm, which basically consists in building reusable UI components. So it's a component-based approach. Of course, it's a different thing, and it is used exclusively as a hybrid alternative to create apps for all mobile platforms, whether Android or iOS. It is not the only one, there is Flutter as well, but considering that for that I should learn an entire new language, I opted for React Native. I gotta tell you, I'm pretty excited for this one, since I've never really taken the mobile ecosystem into consideration. So, wish me luck. Electron.js. Are you starting to notice a pattern here? All these new technologies I want to learn are basically JavaScript or TypeScript. And for a good reason. JavaScript is a powerful language. Not much for what the language can do. On that aspect, JavaScript is pretty lacking. But for the massive ecosystem surrounding JavaScript, there are so many libraries and frameworks and integration using JavaScript that with just one language, you really could be a web developer, software developer, a mobile developer at the same time. Electron.js is a popular JavaScript library to create desktop apps. And just to name one that I think everybody is familiar with is VS Code. VS Code is written primarily with Electron.js. My wish to learn this library comes from the fact that in 2022, I'd really like to expand my horizons as a programmer, taking a peek at mobile development, just see React Native, as well as developing desktop apps. And if everything goes according to plan, at the end of 2022, I should have a pretty good picture of all of them. Speaking of which, if you wanted to see what I'll be doing at the end of 2022 and the process through learning these languages, well then, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. C++. This is a big name, and it's totally different from what I've said so far. I gotta say, the thought of learning a language like C++ is pretty daunting. but I'm looking forward to it. Why would I want to learn such a complex language, you might ask? Well, mainly for two reasons. One is that I really want to step up my game as a programmer, really get deeper into the science. And since I am not a computer science student, I feel kind of behind, especially when it comes to certain topics. In this regard, a language like C++ will force me, hopefully, to learn those basic concepts, those basic topics, some nitty-gritty stuff that with languages like JavaScript or even Python, you don't really need to think of. Second reason is Python. When I started learning Python, I set quite an ambitious goal. I wanted to become like master level, let's say. I don't know if that exists. Let's say a core developer levels. And if you were wondering, core developers are those developers who work on the language, basically adding feature, removing others, changing methods. Now I know that I'll probably never become a Python core developer, but a fundamental step to become a master in Python is understanding the mechanism, the processes that are going behind the scenes. And since Python is a language founded, written in C++, it's a mix of compiled and interpreted, but the fundamental language is C++, I find extremely important to learn it and learn it well. Now, do you think my plans are too ambitious? Maybe, but consider this. Most of the technologies I've said in this video are based on JavaScript, which is something that I know already pretty well. The real outlier here is C++, and that is really what worries me. I presume that alone will take me the whole year to learn, at least somewhat competently. Not becoming a master, but definitely use it efficiently to create some stuff, something. Resources I'm going to use is the web, internet. Online resources are everywhere, and it would be silly not to use them, not to start from there. In case of C++, I plan to buy books because I feel that there are certain things that I need to know in order to use it at its full potential. So this was my wish list, my programming goals, but let me know in the comments below what your picks are. This being said, I really wanted to wish you a happy new year. I really hope that what you wish and aspire could become true in 2022. We as a society and as human beings, we have had quite a rough couple of years, but this year I really hope that everything can resolve in your life and you can find that purpose, that meaning, that welfare and health you all deserve. I'll see you at the next one, good people. Thanks everyone. Ciao.